Welcome, everyone, to episode 3 of season 2 of It Where They Mow, Talking Golf in Texas. And we have a very special program today and 2 special guests. I have to my immediate left Mr. Chuck Walker, who is the executive director of the I Am a Golfer Foundation. And to his left is the lovely Courtney Taylor, who is with Veritex Bank, one of our sponsors. And speaking of sponsors, I want to mention them right from the get-go. Veritex Bank, the Golf Bank of Texas, is a sponsor of Season 2, as it was for Season 1. And also Niagara Conservation, which is low-flow plumbing. I'd like to say avoid the water hazards on the golf course and at home. And then, of course, we have 2 golf courses that we promote and that are great sponsors of the show. The Tempest Golf Club in East Texas near Longview, and Dornick Hills up in Ardmore, Oklahoma, which is a Perry Maxwell design, who was a very famous designer. And today we're going to talk about I Am a Golfer Foundation and all that it entails and how it ties into historic Cedar Crest Golf Club or golf course. I'm not sure exactly the right name right now, but it once was a golf club, and it hosted the 1927 PGA Championship. And the I Am a Golfer Foundation is something that started a few years ago. Chuck, get us rolling. Tell us a little bit about the I Am a Golfer Foundation, how it ties into Cedar Crest Golf Course, and just kind of what it's all about.
Well, absolutely, Pat. And number one, thank you so much for hosting us today and having us on the show. We've been looking forward to this for quite a while, so we're excited to be here. And thank you, Courtney, for you all sponsorship, Veritex, and what you all do for the golf community as a whole here in Texas. So, but Cedar Crest and the I Am a Golfer Foundation, I mean, hand in hand like a glove. Our mission as the foundation is to be a catalyst for community renewal and transformation in Southern Dallas. That was our starting point. And from there, we've had to figure out now how, because that's a big mission, to be a catalyst for renewal and transformation in an entire southern sector south of the Trinity. Well, we felt like Cedar Crest Golf Course, being the largest landmass there in the southern sector of Dallas, if we could program the place well, if we could preserve it and beautify it, and if we could promote it and bring eyeballs and extra attention to that large landmass in the southern sector, then that's how we could be that catalyst for renewal and transformation. And so as we go through the show, I'm sure we'll dig in more into each of our 3 pillars, which are programming Cedar Crest, preserving Cedar Crest, and promoting Cedar Crest.
Absolutely. And I wanted to talk a little bit about, how you became involved with this. I know you were with the First Tee of Dallas, another really fine organization that helps people that normally might not have the advantage of playing golf to have that opportunity. So we want to talk about that. And but we want to talk to Courtney a little bit here, because I'm so grateful to Veritex Bank for being one of our sponsors. Malcolm Holland, your president, is a great guy, and Martin Thomas, who's with the bank, has become a good friend of mine. And tell us a little bit about your role in the I Am a Golfer Foundation with Veritex Bank.
So good morning, and thanks for having me. Yeah. So I actually oversee our community development for the bank for Dallas, Fort Worth, and for our Houston area. And so I get a chance to work with different nonprofit and community organizations like I Am a Golfer Foundation. And we get to a chance to invest in the communities, whether it's through, dollars and donations and sponsorships, our volunteerism, and figuring out ways to just really help develop in those different community areas. And so with I Am a Golfer Foundation, of course, we're investing in the youth. We're investing in the next generation and getting a chance to work with those students and invest in their skills. And I know there's scholarships and different opportunities that come out of that, from scholarships and internships and all the different skills that happen on the golf course. And so Veritex is, of course, extremely excited to continue being a part of the organization. And of course, now with us being the Golf Bank of Texas, Texas, it just kind of goes hand in hand, right? And so we're excited to be a part. We're excited to invest in Cedar Crest. We're working with Behind Every Door at the Cedar Crest Community Center right now and doing some really great things over there as well. So it's going to be a really fantastic 2023 for Veritex, for Cedar Crest, for I Am a Golfer Foundation, for Behind Every Door.
It's great stuff, and I guess you have to back it up a little bit. And why would Veritex want to be the golf bank of Texas? Why is golf a good catalyst for helping young kids do better, enjoy life more? Just speak to that a little bit, and then I'll.
Yeah, as we dig into the pillars of the pillars of the foundation, so programming, specifically youth programming, what that means for us is junior golf instruction. So we've got a pretty robust junior program that not only introduces young people to the game, but helps them matriculate all the way up from just beginner to intermediate, all the way to advanced, to playing on junior league teams, eventually even playing in college. And so we've got junior programming. We have paid internships and first job opportunities for young people. And then we have college scholarships that help young people make their way through college. And so that was our founding, was simply programming for our community. Yep.
Well, I was just going to say the game itself. Well, I don't know what I'm getting at here. I'm just thinking back to my own childhood growing up, and I played Little League Baseball. And that's good. And that's a guy coaching you, and you got teammates and stuff like that. And then I got hooked on golf. And golf was a great babysitter for my mother. She would drop me off at the golf course at 8 and pick me up at dark. And we play golf all day. Yeah. And it's singular, but it's also very sociable because you interact with people. There's sportsmanship. There's etiquette. What am I leaving out there, Chuck?
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. I mean, they talk about golf being that great metaphor for life.
Right.
And each sport that's out there has its own lessons, if you will, right? Basketball, you learn about being prepared and having plays and working with teammates. Football, they say you learn how to cheat. If you're not cheating, you ain't trying. That's what that's what the coaches in football will tell you. I'm just kidding about that. But no, you learn about all the different positions in football. Some people need to be blockers and tacklers, whereas some people need to be the leader. They need to be the quarterback.
Teamwork there. Huge.
Quite a bit of teamwork. Well, golf is singularly unique in that it's the one sport where you call the penalties on yourself. And so there are so many just transferable life skills, life values, life lessons that you get through golf. I'll never forget. I grew up in youth programs just like this and had a great mentor, Mr. Charles Hudson. I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee, and just like Daniel Crockett, I think, that came from Tennessee to Texas, or
Davy Crockett.
Davy Crockett.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Davy.
Well, you're close, man.
Pretty close, Davy. I remember the song. Davy Crockett.
Right.
Yeah, that guy.
He was at the Alamo.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. So coming from Tennessee to Texas, I've got that same story. Grew up in Memphis, and my mentor was Charles Hudson at Pine Hill Golf Course. And simple life, this is pre-first tee, but simple life lessons, like when we would go down the fairway, if we saw trash on the ground, we'd pick it up. And we later learned, he later helped us understand that that's called being respectful for your environment. Whether you're here at the golf course or away from the golf course, take care of your surroundings. Another thing was turning in you're keeping up with your own score. Yeah. Like you're in charge of that score. You're in charge of calling the penalties on yourself. If your playing partner hits one in the bushes, well, unlike some other sports, you're not rooting against him. You're not trying to step on his ball and make him lose it even further. You're actually doing just the opposite, where you're actually trying to help them find their ball. When you compete in golf, it's not about tearing someone else down. In golf, it's about, I just want to go out and play my best. And my belief is that my best is going to be better than the next person's best. And what a great way to live life. Not tearing others down, but simply going out and doing your best and believing that you've worked the hardest and that that's going to show off.
Yeah, and you hit a good shot, it takes a bad bounce. and you hit a bad shot, it takes a good bounce. And so it's a lot like life. You know, you didn't do anything to have this adversity, but how are you going to deal with it? You didn't really cause all this good fortune. How are you going to deal with it? Yeah. I want to throw that over to
I'll tell you another one that was very impactful through the game is learning not to quit. I will never forget that, you know, our mentor told us that, you know, you go out, you have 3 bad holes and you want to just come in and hang your hat. And he said, no, boys, you know, if you guys sign up to go out and play 9 holes, you go out, you play your 9 holes, you come in, you post your score, and it is what it is. The beauty of the game is it doesn't lie. It is what it is. If you liked it, then great. If you didn't like it, well, you know, what does that tell you? That maybe you need to work a little bit harder on your craft. So,
100-year-old Jackie Burke at Champions Golf Club there in Houston. Just tell me your score. I don't need to know all the other details. He's such a great guy. Still is, 100 years young. I'm going to transfer that over to you, Courtney. He mentioned a mentor. I'm thinking that within this efforts of Veritex Bank and I Am a Golfer Foundation, there are opportunities for people to volunteer as mentors. Am I getting out of my range a little bit here?
Yeah, mostly the golf professional staff at Cedar Crest leads all of our efforts. However, when our volunteer efforts are usually related to the different fundraising or community events that we put on, and so we've had opportunities through there, and the support of Veritex and Malcolm and Courtney and the team has been outstanding with some of those events for us.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, you would add to that?
Yeah, we're just happy to really be a part. Veritex has such a giving spirit. So they make my job easy when it comes to being out in the community because we have a really great team and my colleagues are always willing to, you know, lift a helping hand and really come out, whether it's teaching, you know, financial literacy, whether it is talking to youth about, you know, careers in banking or, you know, talking about all the different networking and social aspects that may happen on the golf course, right? As you talked about etiquette and being respectful and all those different things that can be on the golf course and the discipline and attention to detail, how they can take that back to, you know, the boardroom or how they can take that to their everyday jobs or the internships that the students may get and how they may take that skill back to their classrooms. And so I think a lot of those skills can be very transferable. And so we're here at Veritex to, you know, to, like you said, be that light or be that mentor, and showing and sharing about, you know, what's happening in the banking space or the corporate world or whatever the case may be. So always willing to go out and talk to the youth about just different aspects of life and, you know, once you go into your career or college or whatever that may look like. So we're always here ready to lift a helping hand, always ready and available.
You mentioned networking, and I think some people misconstrue that a little bit. It's not that you're going to cut a deal out on the golf course. You get to know somebody,
right? Build a rapport.
Well. You get a friendship. You know, I'm playing with you, or I'm playing with Chuck, and you hit this great shot, and it hits a little branch and goes in the water. And you had to drop it and you chipped in and, you know, and then we celebrate that later. We talk about it. And all of a sudden you've got a friendship. If that friend happens to be in the business you're in or a related business, you're probably going to do business with people you like and get along with. And so I always see it misrepresented in movies and shows where somebody's cutting a big deal on the golf course. It might happen, but it usually doesn't. It's just that you get to know people so well.
Relationship building.
Yes.
Relationship building. Yes. And that's really a huge key of business, right, is to build that rapport and those relationships.
And financial literacy. I just want to share about that. Not that I'm real good at that, but I remember when I was in the mortgage insurance business for about 25 years. And I first got started, and a guy gave me the Richest Man in Babylon book. And the main thing I remember from that is pay yourself first. Put something aside for savings. And I would do it out of my check, so I never saw it.
Correct.
And now, as you can tell, I've been around a while. I'm glad I have that sitting there for emergencies or what have you. So there again, literacy. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about Cedar Crest and the neighborhood itself. It is a treasure. I wrote an article for DFW Links magazine about 10 years ago about Cedar Crest. It had the 1927 PGA. 1927, coming up on the 100th anniversary of that in about 4 years. And I thought, what happened in 1927? So I Googled it and everything. Well, Love Field opened in 1927. And here's one all Texas people will love, and maybe even people throughout the world. The very first 7-Eleven opened in 1927. I don't know if they had Slurpees, but they opened, and it was Southland Ice Company, which was a Dallas company, and it opened on 12th Street there in Oak Cliff. And Walter Hagen, one of the great, he was a showman. He was known as the pro who got pros into the clubhouse. Back in the day, that was considered a very unsavory profession to be a golf professional. It was very elitist, very country club. One of the greatest movies, I think, for golf, if you ever want to watch a movie, is called The Greatest Game. And it was about the 1913 U.S. Open in Brookline, Massachusetts, outside of Boston. And you had Harry Vardon, who was the golf pro, and Ted Ray. And Francis We Met was like a 19 or 20-year-old boy that lived in the neighborhood there, and he won it. It was amazing win. But it showed that dynamic very well, that they were thought of as less than. But anyway, Hagen won his 5th of 5 PGAs, I think I'm right about that, at Cedar Crest, or 4th of 5th or whatever. And so you have a statue now in the Legends Plaza, along with Charlie Sifford, who we know as the Jackie Robinson of golf. He broke the color line for golf. Him and having a little bit of a brain freeze here, but
Joe Lewis, maybe?
Pete Brown.
Okay.
Pete Brown actually won the first tournament by an African American. Okay. But Charlie Sifford was the guy. He was tough as a junkyard dog. He forged through. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing to preserve the history out there, and how that should be a sense of pride for the whole community, the whole neighborhood.
Yeah, no, this all started with an idea from our chairman. Our chairman is Dave Ridley, and Dave Ridley he's been the number one advocate for Cedar Crest Golf Course ever since he discovered for himself Cedar Crest, I believe about 10 years ago.
Okay.
And so what his story was that he discovered Cedar Crest, fell in love with the golf course. Then he had the opportunity to meet Ira Malayo, who's the GM and director of golf there at Cedar Crest. Fell in love with Ira, and just as a retired businessman, spoke with Ira from the standpoint of being a mentor, like what we just talked about here, and so he and Ira formed, just a strong relationship, partnership, if you will, and they together co-founded the I Am a Golfer Foundation in 2018. And so, like I said, in the beginning, the idea was simply instruction, jobs, and scholarships for young people. But shortly after the pandemic, 2020, 2021, we evolved the board, so we added additional people to the board. I joined the board, a couple of other folks joined our board of directors, and we went back to that mission of being a catalyst for renewal and transformation. And how? Was it more than just young people? And we thought deep and discovered that actually it can be. It should be. It's not just the people, but it's actually the environment as well. That's when we came up with, let's work with the city to preserve Cedar Crest. Let's work with the city to promote Cedar Crest as well. And so a tactic, if you will, within our preservation efforts was, let's celebrate this unbelievably rich 100-year history.
Right.
And one way that we could do that is tell some of these stories. Pat, you're going to know probably even more stories than I will know, but we certainly know about Walter Hagen in 1927 winning the PGA Championship, and how Byron Nelson, a young 14-year-old Byron Nelson, was right there to lend him his hat at a just a perfect time when he was trying to hit a shot into the sun, because they say Walter Hagen was just the dapper gentleman and never wore a hat. He had great hair and he never wore a hat, and so he faced a shot.
He kind of had it slicked back too. Yeah,
There you go.
He was a dude. Yeah,
he was a dude. And so he, young Byron was inspired by Walter Hagen. It's Cedar Crest is also the location where Lee Elder, a young Lee Elder, first met Dr. Charlie Sifford. And so there's so much history. Light Horse Harry Cooper, his father, Sid Cooper, was the original pro at Cedar Crest. He actually laid out the first 9 holes, and it was Tillinghast who came in after that and worked with Sid to redesign and lay out, the full 18 there. So there's so much unbelievable history. John Brittamus is another World Golf Hall of Famer.
He's the father of Texas golf.
There you go. Has had a hand in Cedar Crest. I think we've discovered probably at least 8 World Golf Hall of Famers.
Now, do you know why they called Harry Cooper Light Horse Harry?
I assume he was a fast golfer.
That's exactly right. Right. A+.
All this education I'm getting
yes,
today.
Yes. Now, we know that you don't play a lot of golf yet.
Not yet.
But you were telling us before we came on that Milana
That's
is
right.
now the head professional at Herman Park.
That's right, Milana Dodge.
And you're a Houston lady, and so...
Oh, yeah, I'm going to get ready to get my golf clubs.
Yes.
I'm excited. I am definitely wanting to learn more, and I'm around it all the time, and I'm like, I've got to get out there on the course, so definitely going to start some instruction. So I'm getting all this knowledge from you all today, but I was at Cedar Crest yesterday, and I was outside, and I was just walking around and just soaking it all up. It's absolutely beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful, and it was just so refreshing just to be out there and just look at everything and take it all in. So
it's so unusual that it's so hilly there, and there are a ton of cedar trees out there. But do you think of Dallas as being a flat prairie town? Houston being flat around the Gulf there, but there's that anomaly or whatever that fault line because. Golf Club of Dallas is in that same fault line, as well as even the Dallas National, the real expensive course down in South Dallas there. But also, just about Cedar Crest, it has 6 par 3s. They're all great par 3 holes. 4 par 5s, par 70. Although 10, I'm not sure. It can play par 5 or par 4, so it can be a par 71. And so there were some other tournaments there that you've got highlighted there as well concerning the African American golf. What was so
you've got the 1927. First off, you have the 1926 Dallas Open, which was the the first professional golf event here in Dallas, which has now morphed into what is known as the AT&T Byron Nelson Championship. And so 1926, that was at Cedar Crest, first professional golf event. That went, and it goes back to your story of how professional golf in 1926 was not the same as professional golf in 2026, not as well received. And so, but that event went over so well that the PGA decided that this next year, 1927, let's have our crown jewel. Let's have the PGA Championship here at Cedar Crest. Then, a few years after that, 1954, you had the USGA recognize Cedar Crest and say, let's bring our Public Links Championship to Cedar Crest. And I believe his name, Gene Andrews, who is the father of the Yardage book.
How about that?
Yes, he's my understanding, if I remember it right, father of the Yardage book. And also in that year, 1954, was the UGA Negro National Open.
Right.
Because think back 1954, the days of segregation, and the same way that baseball at the time had the Negro leagues of baseball, essentially on the golf circuit, you had a similar deal going, and it was called the United Golfers Association. And in 1954, they brought their National Open Championship to Cedar Crest, and that was where Dr. Charlie Sifford won. I believe it was his 5th of 6 National Opens with United Golfers Association.
Where I became aware of the United Golf Association, Rogers Park. I write about it, by the way. I have a book out called The Fringe Runner. because I consider myself kind of out on the fringe a little bit. But I got to know Jim Dent, who just turned 84, another great African-American golfer, long hitter.
That's right.
And a wonderful man. When Pete Brown was ill in his later years, Jim gave him and his wife a house to live in Augusta, Georgia. That's how big his heart is. But Rogers Park is that way there in Tampa. And it was a place I always loved to go to. And I saw Jim there, the late Charlie Owens, who was a great cross-handed African-American golfer. So, yeah, they had a lot of tournaments. Teddy Rhodes, they have a course named after him in Nashville. He was a very stylistic golfer, probably the best black golfer of all time stylistically. They say that he didn't have quite the thick skin that Charlie Sifford had, that you had to have, as you know.
I heard that Charlie Sifford, one of his first integrated tournaments, he got to the first hole, and waiting for him in the cup was
awful.
Something awful.
The indignities he suffered were, and by the way, I did an article as a freshman at SMU in journalism. I did an article on Curtis Sifford, who was Charlie's nephew. Cool guy. He passed away a few years ago. He was living in Las Vegas. He played on the tour for a while. I've lost my train of thought a little bit while we got off on this, but I think it was about why. Tell us about the development of the statues and the Legends Plaza there, because it's cool. I mean, and by the way, I know Courtney may have to leave here. As I said, this is kind of like the Johnny Carson show. So sometimes our real special guests have to leave early. But the Legends Plaza, and before she leaves, I ran into Kevin Knox with the SMU Business School at the Celebration of Life for Dawn January. And he said that SMU Business School is investing in your I Am a Golfer. I tried to call him and find out what role they're playing, but they're just one of the entities that's
right.
Evolve as
That's
well.
right.
Tell us about that.
And we'll circle back there because we want to talk about a few of the events that we put on with the I Am a Golfer Foundation. One of them is the Dallas Amateur Championship. And Kevin and the whole team over at SMU Cox have been big supporters of the Dallas Amateur Championship.
Kevin's a cool guy. He has the same hair color I have. Yeah.
He is a great guy.
He's a great guy.
Circling back to Legends Plaza. Yes. Again, that idea, Dave Ridley birthed it, and it was the idea of celebrating the over 100 years of rich history. And so making sure that people who come to Cedar Crest know the hallowed grounds that they're walking on. And
you can't miss that now.
Now you can't miss it. Before, people didn't really recognize or know that, wow, this course is designed by A.W. Tillinghast. And so for even those who don't know, we like to paint the analogy of imagine if you had a Picasso or a Rembrandt or a Monet, and you just didn't know.
Or Gauguin. No, that's Gauguin. I mispronounced it one time playing Trivial Pursuit. I'll never live that down. I'm sorry.
But imagine if you had one of those and you just didn't know. But most people who did, they might make sure that people knew that, hey, yes,
that's cool. That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
This is a Picasso, and so we wanted to make sure that people knew that this is an A.W. Tillinghast.
Let me interrupt just a minute here about A.W. Tillinghast. At the same time he did Cedar Crest, he did Brook Hollow, which is over in the kind of the medical area.
That's right.
But it's one of the most expensive golf clubs, not only in Texas but in the country. It's a great golf course, but Cedar Crest right in there with it.
That's right.
He also did Brackenridge Park down in San Antonio, which is a very historic and beautiful golf course. He did work at Corsicana Country Club. Because one of the wealthy members of Brook Hollow back in the 20s, the Strube family, they hit oil down in Corsicana. They wanted Tillinghast to come do some work at Corsicana Country Club. San Francisco Golf Club, you haven't heard a lot about it. It's near Olympic, but it's a wonderful golf course. Wingfoot, where my buddy Bryson DeChambeau won the 2020 U.S. Open. He's not my buddy. I just like him. I pull for him. We both went to SMU.
The alliteration's good, too.
We're both handsome. Yeah, okay. Baltusrol And then there's a place called Quaker Ridge across the street from Wingfoot that I've never played, probably won't ever get to play. But I understand it's better than Wingfoot. And then I wanted to give the quote of my friend Howie Alexander, who's very erudite. He had just played Medina with our friend Harry Leatherwood, who was a member of Medina. And he came and played in a buddy tournament I had at Cedar Crest. And he said, Wheels, this is Medina number 2 for $45. So I told I ought to put that on the scorecard. But anyway, that's the kind of golf course it is. I know there's been some problems with the conditioning of it, but we've had a weird year here. We've had a very cold spring, and Bermuda needs warm nights. So I know the greens are going to be good come June, come July, come August. When you want to play in the morning, probably.
Just a little bit, especially down here in this Texas weather, you know.
But being from Houston, it's even worse, right?
It is, just a tad bit. Yeah, just a tad bit. Yeah.
But no, they are starting to bloom, if you will, and the roots are solid. They're starting to pump through.
That's good.
But circling back on Legends Plaza, we definitely want to thank Malcolm and the team at Veritex. We had so many supporters help make Legends Plaza possible, help us to tell those stories. Veritex being the Golf Bank of Texas, when we shared the idea with Malcolm, he said, absolutely, sign us up. We want to be a part of what will be there for generations to come.
Right.
And so it's Veritex was super helpful. Bill Duvall and his wife were extremely helpful in creating the Charlie Sifford statue for us. And then Jay Bray at the Mr. Cooper Group, their team led the efforts for the Walter Hagen statue that we have. And then we've got a great partner in the Louis L. Borick Foundation. They were helpful in just the whole reimagining process that happened there. But without folks like Courtney and the team at Veritex, those types of projects
Talk about that reimagining.
Don't happen.
Talk about that. I like that term. Somebody just saw all this.
That's right. I mean, Dave Ridley. Yeah, Dave Ridley had the vision. He would get out of his car there at the parking lot, and literally 12 months ago, when you got out of your car in the parking lot, you walked past the big air conditioning condensers and just the return of golf carts, and we're going, this is no way to arrive to an A.W. Tillinghast golf course that has hosted Walter Hagen and Charlie Sifford and John Breedemus and all these greats. And so we went through this process of what stories can we tell, and 3 of the most important stories were certainly the Cedar Crest hosting a PGA championship, a major, one of only a handful in Texas to have done so, one of only maybe 2 or 3 in the North Texas area. I believe the other would be Dallas Athletic Club and Northwood to have hosted majors. And I mean, that's rare company, so it seems like we might want to celebrate and tell people about this.
Exactly.
It's one of a handful of A.W. Tillinghast in this area, so that was an important story. And then the neighborhood had a huge role in civil rights throughout the 50s and 60s in Dallas. And so what better story to tell than the Jackie Robinson of golf story, and the fact that Charlie Sifford had a monumental moment here at Cedar Crest as well. So that's how all that came together, and now it'll be there for generations to come, and every young person that walks up wants to know, who are these people that are standing before me, and what's their relevance. And we get to tell the story of Hagen and how he transformed professional golf, and we get to tell the story of Dr. Charlie Sifford and how he fought for equality, and also we get to tell the story of A.W. Tillinghast and just simply what it means to be excellent and what it means to understand what your given gift is, and then to work at that craft and to create a legacy.
No kidding. And I want to talk a little bit about these tournaments that you got coming up. And I know you've got to run.
Yes, I do. But thank you so much for having me here to talk a little bit about Veritex's partnerships and investments with you all. We're excited and happy to be a part of history and preservation and just the richness of what happens out at Cedar Crest and what's about to happen. And I know you've got so many events and things occurring. So
and Veritex is involved throughout the entire neighborhood. It's
Yes.
important to know that,
Yes.
that they have these, significant investments
Yes.
Throughout the Cedar Crest community as a whole. And we can't say thanks enough for what you all are doing for the community as a
we're
whole.
excited about
Before you leave, Veritex is it's a big, strong bank,
Yes.
but it's a local bank.
Yes.
Community bank.
Yes.
And it specializes in personal banking and also small commercial lending. I say small. Some of it can
Small
be pretty
business lending, we got commercial
Right,
lending,
right.
all of these different types of lines of business, right? But at the end of the day, we're here to serve people. And so we're serving people through the business side of things. We're serving people through the community side of things. We're helping people as far as it relates to bank accounts and home ownership and all of these different things. So
Excellent.
we're excited about what's getting ready to happen at Cedar Crest in the
Yes.
community center as we're coming there in partnership with Behind Every Door as well. And we're going to have a banking center within that facility coming up this fall. So we are excited about
Excellent.
just the overall investment in the Cedar Crest community, as Chuck was just saying.
Well, just one more little thing for you.
Okay.
Behind every door. That's intriguing to me. Just explain the terminology there. Behind every
So
door.
Behind Every Door Community Center is one of our other great community
it's a
partners.
center. Okay.
Yes,
All right.
it's a community. It's a separate
Okay.
nonprofit organization that has transformed or is transforming the Cedar Crest Community Center. And so we are actually partnering with them to put a banking branch inside of that community center where hundreds and hundreds of kids are going to come and do after school programming as well as everything from football, basketball, and all these different educational programs that'll be there, but we'll be the financial institution that's there, providing banking services and doing financial literacy education as well for the Cedar Crest community. So excited about what's
Yes.
happening this upcoming fall, with that, with the whole community, but of course also with I Am a Golfer and just the investments that we've been able to make previously, but the ones, this year and going forward. So we're here to help in preserving the rich history, educating folks on a variety of different aspects, and of course, just increasing that financial education sense. And we know that once you kind of have that foundation of financial literacy and education, that so many other things can occur from there.
And we are going to keep track of your golf game. I'm gonna follow up.
I'm gonna come back and report and watch. Y'all are gonna be like, okay, you might want to come join our foursome one day. I'm telling you, I'm gonna be ready.
That's the deal.
I'm gonna be ready.
Pat, I'll tell you, she's got some great people that she can learn from because how about Veritex's support of Texas golfers,
amazing.
whether it be the Scotty Schefflers,
Sam Bennett,
the
that's
Sam
the
Bennett,
Masters.
and making the story even
My
more.
favorite, Cheyenne Knight.
We've got a
she's
ton of golf
good.
ambassadors.
I'll tell you, my personal favorite is a young man named J.P. Thornton who plays on the Advocates Professional Golf Association APGA tour. That's a feeder tour, if you will. It's a developmental tour for minorities and African American players.
Is he a
So that
Cedar Crest guy?
He is a Memphis young man that grew up
that's your
in the same junior program that I grew up in there
Long
in Memphis.
distance
And
information. Give me Memphis, Tennessee. Huh?
he
Well,
went to
it's-
Texas Southern University, and so he's
That's
now a
awesome.
Texas young guy.
Yeah,
J.P.
we've got plenty of
Thornton?
ties,
That's
Veritex
right.
J.P.
ties to
Thornton?
them as
J.P.
well.
Thornton.
So
I'm JP, so I got to pull for them.
You got
see,
Boy.
there you go. There you go. Yes, we are excited about all of the things that we are investing around golf, around youth, as far as professional and personal development. We're doing a lot. We're doing a lot. We've got a strong and mighty team, and I'm so thankful for our leadership, for Malcolm, for LaVonda, for Jeff and John. I mean, there's just so many people that have invested in our community, but they invest in us. They invest
Amen.
in their employees, and so I think that's what makes all of the difference, because we get a chance to get out there and we get a chance to meet different golfers and get a chance to go out and network and to volunteer and to meet youth and talk about the different stuff that we do at the bank as well. So it's a win-win.
Yes,
all around.
As I would say, and I get to plug Ira again. I watched him make a hole-in-one one time. You're a hole-in-one there. That's an ace.
Okay, yeah. I take it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being with us today.
Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate the invitation just to talk a little bit about what we are doing, and we'll make sure that we'll keep you updated on all of our community efforts and everything that we have going on.
I appreciate that
here at Veritex and our Dallas and our Fort Worth communities as well. So I know I'll be seeing you all on the Cedar Crest Golf Course soon. So.
Absolutely.
See you there.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you so much, Courtney.
Thank you.
Have a good remainder of the day and week.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Same to you all.
Bye-bye. I wanted to talk about these tournaments you got coming up.
Yeah.
Because this is a way of raising support, right?
That's right.
Okay, so I know you got on your shirt there. Let's start with that one, the Dallas Amateur.
Yeah, what I'm wearing today is what's right in front of us, the Dallas Amateur Championship, and we've let's see, again, a Dave Ridley, Ira Malayo creation in partnership with Jonas Woods and the team over at Trinity Forest.
Right.
Two great Southern Dallas golf courses in Trinity and Cedar Crest. And the I guess the vision behind it, Jonas saw that there was a Houston Amateur, which is a fantastic event down in Houston.
That's right.
And
City Amateur, they call it.
City Amateur, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
And we recognized that there was nothing. There wasn't a City Amateur going on here in Dallas that was being pushed, if you will. And so he said, "What if I offer the opportunity to have the finals at Trinity Forest, and we have qualifiers at Cedar Crest?" Dave and Ira said, that sounds like a great idea. We'll have the proceeds benefit the I Am a Golfer Foundation, and that's going to allow us to launch the I Am a Golfer Foundation. And that was all the birth. They say nothing really happens without support, without the dollars that you need to really make it happen. Well, those were the initial dollars. The players who play in that event, they're the reason that I Am a Golfer is able to exist today. And so now we've grown the event to roughly 500 to 600 players. We will have 5 to 6 qualifiers at Cedar Crest.
So it's about $100 or so to qualify.
That's
150
right. That's right. It's about, you paid, this year's entry fee is $110.
$110, okay.
$110, and that gets you into the qualifier at Cedar Crest.
Gotcha.
We have qualifiers weekly starting June 3rd. So we'll have one the first week of June. There'll be another one the second week, the third week, all the way through the second week of July. Then the top approximately 120 players, the top 120 that qualify, they will go to Trinity Forest and they will play 36 holes at Trinity, a two-day finals over at Trinity Forest.
I may give that a shot this year.
Yeah, you've got different divisions.
Yeah.
That's right. You've got multiple divisions. You've got there's multiple requirements. There is a handicap requirement.
Right.
Check our website for that.
Right.
But there's an age requirement as well. You must be 22 and older to participate. Those young studs that are playing college golf,
they got enough to do.
They've got enough to do. That's right. This is for the amateurs. Oftentimes the working guys and young ladies that are out there. So you've got a net division. You have an open division.
Right.
You have senior division. You have a ladies division as well. And
But now the senior guys, those are sticks, right? Those are the scratch players. So
senior,
the net
that's
would be,
right.
For a
that's
guy
right.
like with a 14 handicap, he needs to be in the net division.
In the men's net.
Okay.
That's right.
Got it.
Yep.
All right.
But
You'll see me out there.
That's a great event. Over the years, we've picked up support for it. The Rolling family and the folks over at Omni Hotels and Resorts. And again, similar to Malcolm Holland and the team at Veritex, the Rollings are just lovers of the game of golf, appreciators of the game of golf, and immensely supportive of golf around the country through their hotels and resorts.
So these young kids have a real opportunity, and hopefully they'll take advantage of it. Now, I mean, just in general, but now I know you got an event coming up, and I wanted to mention this. This is a free ad for them. I love Southwest Airlines. Why do I love them so much? Well, they fly to every place pretty much I want to go, and they let you take your golf clubs, and they don't charge you for them. Now, they may change that one day, but right now they don't. They let you take 2 bags, and one of them can be your golf clubs, and I like that. And so they're going to be real involved in a big deal coming up. So tell us about that.
That's right. I mean, they similar to Veritex, they could almost be the golf airline of America.
Yeah,
because, like you said, I believe there may be the only one that lets you take your golf bag with you at no cost.
That's right.
So, but nonetheless, this November, we are bringing the first ever live nationally televised event to Cedar Crest. It's going to be televised live on the Golf Channel, November 13th. 14, and 15. It's called the Southwest Airlines Showcase at Cedar Crest. It's going to be an elite amateur invitational event for young people that are in college and that are from diverse and historically underrepresented backgrounds. And so we're going to have some of the top young people who are in college, what we would consider elite amateurs, participating in this event. It'll be 42 players, so 21 men and 21 women. The young people from Howard University they've been dynamite. And so there's a young man named E.J. Witten. He just went out and shot 14 under at Shoal Creek just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So he has his name in the hat to be a participant. Greg Odom, who also comes from Howard University, at that same event, I believe he was about 5 or 6 under.
Now, Howard,
these guys can play.
Is it in Washington, D.C., or it's in that area?
Howard is in Washington, D.C., and that's the school that's been adopted by Steph Curry of the Golden State Warriors and the group at Under Armour. And so even Callaway Golf has gone in and made investments in that university's golf program to help the young people there really just kind of go as far as they want to go with their games. But we've got applicants from San Jose State, and then we will be reaching out shortly. There's a couple of young ladies at University of Tennessee, Texas A&M, a couple at the University of Texas. So we will have, like I said, the top 42 elite amateurs from diverse and historically underrepresented backgrounds at Cedar Crest.
Now, Southwest Airlines, and I didn't say this about Veritex, but obviously it makes sense for them to support this because you're looking at potential workers, or not workers, but, workers, but also, what am I trying to say? Executives, or, it's just it's a win-win deal.
It is. And like you mentioned, what was that? 1927 was the opening of Love Field. And so,
right.
There's so many great tie-ins for sure. But no, Southwest is supportive of the southern sector of Dallas, and they are very supportive of that mission that so many of us who've gotten involved with the foundation have come to love. And that whole mission being a catalyst for renewal and transformation in Southern Dallas is what drives everything that we do. So sure, it's a golf event on the surface, but at the end of the day, we're looking to impact lives. We're looking to renew a community that traditionally has been underinvested in, underappreciated, similar to what we talk about with Cedar Crest and the golf course itself. How do we get more eyeballs onto Cedar Crest so that we can get more investment into Cedar Crest, so that we can appreciate the fact that we've got a Picasso in this neighborhood, and we just need to dust it off from time to time.
Exactly. So that's exciting coming up in November. What have I forgotten to ask you today? This has been a lot of fun. I did tell you I wanted to advocate, and I don't know who's in charge of all this, but I would love to see a statue of Don January added to that pantheon,
yes,
if you will.
You've got to tell me the story.
I will tell the story because he just passed away May 7th, and we had a celebration of life just recently for family and friends, and Ben Crenshaw and Lee Trevino and Lanny Watkins spoke. But the 3 things that we wanted Don to be remembered for, not only, I'm going to tell you how good a golfer he was first. Played in 491 PGA events lifetime before he went to the senior tour. Missed 23 cuts, 23 out of 491. In his salad days from 1960 to 1969, he missed 2 cuts in 9 years. He won the PGA in '67. He's got that tie-in. The PGA was played at Cedar Crest. When he won it, it was played outside of Denver. He was instrumental in getting the Caucasian clause stricken from the PGA of America in 1961. Back then, the tour was part of the PGA of America. Then they had a tournament players committee. You talked about the indignities that Charlie Sifford had to suffer. Nobody should. All he wanted to do is play the game, and he wanted to even grant. Golf is very democratic. It's just like Brooks Koepka won the PGA. I'm not this. Don't get mad at me, folks. A lot of people might not have wanted a live golfer to win it, but it's who can get it in the hole quickest, and he did. He played beautiful golf and he won. Well, Don was on that committee, and kind of the crowning blow or whatever was an incident down at, unfortunately, in Houston at Memorial Golf Club. Charlie was not allowed to park with the players. Somebody wasn't informed. He had his credentials, and so that was an indignity. He played in the tournament, but the first day he had to drive around, park in the back, and come in. Anyway, he told Charlie, he said, "I'll get this done." And he got it done. Now, Don didn't do it single-handedly, but he stepped up. And he later told me it feels good to right a wrong. And so I think that would be something maybe to put on the plaque there. And then the other thing was in '68, him and Jack Nicklaus worked together to get the tour separated from the PGA of America. PGA of America has flourished since then. It's great. The Ryder Cup, the PGA Championship, all the programs, PGA Frisco now, they have flourished. So has the tour, but they had kind of different, the PGA was about teaching and running the golf course, and these guys are about playing. We're celebrating Michael Block right now, who's a club pro playing great golf, because it's very unusual because he has to give lessons and that kind of thing. And then the final thing Don did was he extended the longevity. Him and about 5 other guys, he saw how successful the Legends of Golf was down in Austin as a special event, guys over 50 playing a 4-ball format. And that was the advent of the senior tour, which is still going strong today. So he had a great career and a great life, and he's just a Dallas guy. And he grew up in Oak Cliff. He went to Sunset High School. They won state. He's a pretty good golfer in high school. He learned to play at Stevens Park, not too far down the road from you.
That's right.
10-year-old boy wading the creeks, get his golf balls. And that's what we want. We want 10-year-old kids playing golf out there.
That's right.
That's the best place for them to be.
Yep. And
they learn to compete. They learn how to be good sportsmen, good sportswomen, and hit it where they mow is all behind you, man. And I'll tell you something else. I loved it when Ben Crenshaw and Bill Coore built Trinity for us, because I would drive down there and drive down the road to the Audubon Society and park and go look, see where they were moving dirt. And it was a hard job because they couldn't dig.
That's right.
It's built on a landfill. I've done a lot of talking here, but anyway, I'm building a case.
I'll tell you
I'm building a case for Don on that. So
yeah. Well, I'll tell you what's next for us with I Am a Golfer Foundation.
Beautiful.
You think about the Mecca that North Texas has become for golf, with the PGA moving their headquarters here. This week alone, look at what you've got going on in golf here in North Texas. Unbelievable. A great event like the Charles Schwab Challenge and the Colonial taking place. And then also you got the Legends of the Game here, the Senior PGA Championship taking place. Well, Cedar Crest wants to be part of that conversation, and we feel that it should be. You played an event with us just about a month ago called the Friends of Cedar Crest Golf Classic. That was also where we unveiled
played lights out and came in second. I'm still processing that.
Tough competition, but I tell you, Our vision for as the foundation, when we talk about preserving Cedar Crest, we talk about beautifying and telling that history of Cedar Crest.
Yes.
It requires people to get involved.
Yes.
And so I want to say thank you to you. Thank you to Veritex for getting involved in our Friends of Cedar Crest outing that we had back on May 8th. We invite others to get involved. Our vision is a full restoration of Cedar Crest. The same type of energy that Cedar Crest had in 1927 when it had enough energy to host a PGA championship. It was so well taken care of by the community that it was able to host, again, Walter Hagen. We want to create that same energy. We want to get that same buy-in from the community. We're working with the city as we speak to further that vision, to help everyone understand. And this is not just for Cedar Crest. This is not just for Southern Dallas. This is an opportunity for Dallas as a whole, to understand that we have a Picasso. Dallas owns a Picasso. Right now it's got a little dust on it. So let's all get together and get in there with our feather dusters, if you will, and let's dust it off. It's going to take us all purchasing some feather dusters. It's going to take us all advocating for what needs to get done. And then all of us, going in there with our hands and getting dirty and getting it done. But the same way that some other municipalities around the country have done. Think about San Francisco and what they've done with Harding Park. That's not just a jewel for San Francisco. That's a jewel for the country. You travel to San Fran, you want to play Harding Park. Look at even our neighbors down the road in Houston, Memorial Park, and the transformation that has happened there.
You're right.
That's the community getting together and saying, hey, we want to take this muni and do something special. Lastly, just down the road, Brackenridge and what the Alamo Golf Trail team has done down at Brackenridge, recognizing that they have a gym, and now let's dust it off and make it great for the country.
Yeah, and I say step up, Dallas.
That's right.
We have a great city here, great history, and let's step up and let's do this.
New York has Bethpage Black, and so how do we make it where Dallas has a great muni that we want to all of our friends from around the country, when they come to Dallas, they go, I gotta go play Cedar Crest.
Exactly. I agree entirely. I wanted to mention one other little quick thing. You mentioned the senior guys are here. Had the opportunity to meet Tim Herron. Lumpy. What a great guy he is. And I'm having a little bit of a brain freeze, but this guy is a great tall player, and anyway, he's
what's he known for?
Well, he's Kirk Triplett.
Oh man,
he's known as Kirk Triplett.
There you go.
And I'm going to tell you something.
Bucket hat Kirk Triplett.
They were playing the Don DeRosa, which is my friend Don Robertson's personal golf course up in an undisclosed location north of Denton.
Love it.
And it's golf in its purest form. And watching Kirk Triplett swing for about an hour, I know I'm going to play better today. But anyway, I want to thank you so much. We're out of time. And just remind everyone of the Dallas Amateur and the Southwest Classic.
Be sure to visit our website. Be sure to visit our website. It's easy. It's iamagolfer.com. It's what each one of you that's probably listening, it's easy to remember. iamagolfer.com. You'll find information on the Dallas Amateur Championship, which starts next weekend, June 3rd.
Okay.
5 qualifiers going all the way to mid-July, or the first part of July. Then after that, you've got the finals taking place at Trinity Forest. Then don't forget to come see us this fall, the Southwest Airlines Showcase at Cedar Crest. It'll be live on Golf Channel from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, November 13, 14, and 15.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chuck Walker, and I hope to have you on again.
Thank you. Looking forward to it, Pat.
You bet.